Please welcome all our guests.
Hi, my name is Kiana Alphonse, and I'm a current graduate of St. Clair Educational Complex High School, and I will be attending Texas A&M Commerce to study forensic accounting.
Hello, my name is Abdullah Abdullah. I'm a current graduate from the University of the Virgin Islands, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in accounting.
My name is Malkia Robinson. I'm a recently graduated from St. Clair Seventh-day Adventist School, and I will be attending SCAD online in art.
This is dope. And most importantly, welcome back to all our viewers here from our lovely set at Jolie. As you already know, we're on episode 2. You've been seeing a lot of exciting content that we've been making from episode 1. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And most importantly, please continue to share your comments, responses, and always inbox the page with new ideas. It helps us continue to be creative, and it helps you to find a dialogue to spark change one at a time. So, to getting right into our topic today, Feel of the People, let's ask you guys one quick question. And that would be, how would you rate the current job market conditions in the USVI for recent graduates? Who would like to be up first?
I would rate it a 1. So, being that I just graduated, I didn't have that knowledge that you should start looking at a job for the summer, before the summer. So, I waited till I graduated so my schedule was free and I would know. So, going through the job market so far, everybody wants you to have like 2 years of experience. They want you to have this. You can't be going this way, no time, a lot of things. And it's like nobody's actually willing to give you that chance and help you build your experience. So it's very, very difficult. And with that, I would say that it's definitely a 1.
Scale of 1 to 10, I would probably rate it maybe a 4 or a 5. From a college graduate perspective, just being like, yeah, you do have that degree, but the opportunities and the expectations are really not there. A little bit. Yeah.
I would rate it a 4. I went through the Department of Labor's youth summer program, so I have a job for the summer, but it's so picky because they're being funded federally. They just give me a job at the summer camp, and I enjoy that job. I like it a lot, but they don't actually have enough job opportunities for a lot of people. So,
Speaking of that, people actually said that they told children there's so much children applying for that. It's like it's not enough. And that's not even that much of a reliable job because you really get paid mainly at the end of the summer. It's not a reliable income always weekly. You could get lucky, but it's not always like that.
And were you able to, for the things that you wanted to do, was there any type of opportunity whatsoever?
Well, luckily for me, yes. But here doesn't have a forensic accountant. But going through UVI's youth work experience, I was able to get an opportunity to shadow an accountant at the Bureau of Corrections.
What about you? Yeah, if you were you able to find things in your field?
Wow. So they're being graduated with like a business degree, mainly in accounting. There are a few opportunities out there, but it's really like you got to know some people. There are a few programs like the GVI Fellowship out there. A lot of students I know are trying to apply for it. There are a few opportunities and fields, but it's not like the best opportunity out there for a college graduate or trying to build yourself or something really to rely on strictly as like your one job or start off, you know?
how for art, they don't have that much job opportunities for like, more creative.
Y'all sound depressed.
So, I have a follow-up question, right? Would you say that based on your perceived opportunities in the Virgin Islands, did that impact what field you wanted to study in college or going forward?
Definitely, it did impact my college major decision, I would say. After high school, coming into college, I always knew I kind of wanted to do something in business. I was kind of thinking about maybe like law or something along those lines, but really just how I kind of viewed the economy being set up at that time and the opportunities that I would be able to kind of get right out of college, or possibly just the expectations. I took it in a way where I was like, okay, it's probably safer just to take the business kind of path and see where that leads me.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
So truthfully, for me, really, it's kind of a no. I chose my field based on things that I'm passionate about, but not only that, so that I could make a change for the younger generation, so that they don't go through what I went through.
So, before you start, Martin, what did you want to do?
I definitely wanted to do something in business, but I always kind of had the idea of maybe like law or kind of maybe criminal justice or, probably, but I just took it as like, okay, business is probably the right way to go. Somewhere along those lines, at least.
Okay.
It didn't affect me with it. People say I was being stubborn because I didn't see how my business could be better, but I was like, I'm gonna do this. You can't change that, and if this attorney tax for it, I'll just move solve.
And the reason why I want to say I asked the question is, I'll tell my age a little bit. When I graduated 17 years ago.
Strike number one. All right, folks. So we have a little bet between me and Darren. We're going to try and see who could say the least amount of times. I remember when, back in my day, and what was the other trigger? Anything that ages us.
Anything, basically, yeah.
So he got 1 point.
But I wanted to bring out the point because I asked that question because that also impacted me as well. Now, I ended up deciding to do business, and now it's carrying me into the current field that I'm in. But if there were more choices that I could have stayed, because one of the big things I wanted to do was stay to, like you said, that you wanted to impact the community. I also had that thought process, and it still is there. But if I had more opportunities, maybe I would have done something other than business. So that's one reason I wanted to ask the question.
I have to admit, I probably would have to side with you guys. I mean, after graduating from college, when me and Abdallah were chopping it up before we started, he pointed it out. I spent 5 months trying to actually find my own place here in the Virgin Islands before I became a GVI fellow. I received rejection upon rejection. I was told wasn't good enough, or I would submit an application, and it still happens today where while being a GVI fellow, I'm getting a call back to let me know, oh, you didn't get the cut. And I was like, you guys not keep an accurate record to know that I'm already employed? Or the next one is, hey, are you still interested? I think it's a weird thing that we live in such interesting era in the Virgin Islands where we're amassed by uncertainty, and all this preparation goes out the windows because I think everybody preaches networking, everyone preaches make sure you go to do internships and you do all of that, but I still believe it's a matter of who you know rather than what you can do or what you can offer. I know many people like to say, what will you do to help us grow if we were to hire you? But I think here we're in a different playing field, and I think guys as graduates are in a very interesting era where I think young people's voices aren't recognized enough to be heard, and that your experience does matter. And I think that if there's just a bit more push for what we claim to be the future, which is you guys, I think things would be better off in our job market for you guys, and there's more opportunities. And I'll say as a GVI fellow, we work hard. We try to find our own way. It is not the easiest thing in the world. Working in the Virgin Islands isn't the easiest thing in the world. You're unsurmountable odds. I think each one of us here can tell you many stories where odds are stacked against us, and we're just having to find our own way because we're either shut out, we're told no, or you're not good enough.
So I want to ask, facts not fiction, right? So as we discussed in the first episode, the average age of Virgin Islanders is about 45 years old. Do you believe, and I will ask that to you and also the young people here, do you think that's really impacting what's going on? Because generally speaking, the older our population is a tendency to become more conservative, or we want to say, for lack of a better term, set in their ways. Do you think that has an impact on what's going on right now?
I'd say yes, it does. I mean, realistically, we have an aged population. Like, we literally have grown up with people. People are becoming parents now. I have like 2 friends that are full-time parents, and then they're older now, and you have other people that are just getting up in age, and I think things aren't getting better. I think when you get to a certain point, you're just holding on to what you know is best. I mean, we live in the 21st century where we're told that we're supposed to be moving into a technological age, and as Mr. Dorsey likes to point out, the fax machine is still running. And I mean, I think it's mind-boggling that we live in such a interesting we live in an interesting society where there's Dropbox, there's social media, there's Google Drive, there's 6,000 ways you could probably fix a problem, but we choose not to. And again, I think when you meet someone like Jennifer Matarangas from Via, shout out to her. I mean, she likes to point it out. We try to make things easier for our society. You can come to a box and slip in your card and pay your bill or pay it online. But yet still, we're still forming lines in order to pay a bill. Or I think it's just that, I think Mr. Dorsey said it best. We just take what we like to get and still come back to it because that's all we have. And I think it all comes down to the right of choice. In the States and in the mainland, you have the power of choice. You have about, if you don't like Xfinity, there's Dish. If you don't like Dish, there's broadband. If you don't like broadband, there's somebody else, I'm sure. Or you just stick to Roku as streaming services. But here it's one or you do without. And I think that is a problem, that this aging population isn't realizing that their time, not to sound negative or depressing or mean, their time is over, realistically. Oh, in the concept, not time is over. I'm just saying that, like,
Fight Michael in the comments.
I'm not saying that in a negative way. I mean, like, I agree that I think it's more of a time to step aside and start realizing that young people do exist there, and it shouldn't just be do what you're told or sit in a corner until you're as the same age.
So, what are your opinions on this? Do you find that ageism is something that you have to deal with, either in trying to pursue your dreams or trying to convince somebody that it's something worth doing? I think, Malkia, you said they didn't really understand you trying to do art.
Yeah, being like you just came from out of high school, they're really like, oh, you're still a child. You don't understand how the real world works. Or you don't know how, you don't understand. You won't make it far. You're young. You'll learn. You'll do this. You'll do that. It's really annoying because, like, yes, I am young, but I do know how the real world works because I can see it on television and I can see how it operates. Or when you try to explain, like, technology to them, or you try to tell them this is something new you can do, they'll be like, that's not successful.
Did you two ever feel encouraged or discouraged about some of your career choices or your academic choices?
For me, for my career choice, no, but for my academic choice, yes. So at Complex, I was a magnet student, and I also took AP classes.
Complex massive.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not the mindset that, or the opportunities that I think I'm getting. Like, the program became very depressing. It's like, I could have just taken a trade class instead of continuing to be a magnet student. Like, my AP teacher, her solution was, if you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, you're going to get better. I would keep doing, like, her comprehension worksheets or whatever. And it's not like we can't do it, but it's like the thinking skills behind how people do things, the answers are very stupid. But instead of she come up with solutions to help us figure out what's going on, she'll just keep giving us and we'll keep failing and failing and failing and failing. And up till this day, she was like, the problem with us is we think school is supposed to be entertainment. But the problem with it actually is that the older people, they're not finding ways to implement it to help us. They're just trying to go with their old strategies instead of opening up to, well, if this isn't working, let's make it a game. Let's try to make it something more to keep them interested, interactive, and something for them to increase their skills without even realizing it. So for me, it definitely was hard. But I know for my career choice itself, it's like, people here seeing that what's going on here in the Virgin Islands, people are supportive of it because there's like, they need things that's so big. But like when it comes to that more closed up asset of building us up, it's definitely not there.
Definitely. So to answer your question, I never really felt discouraged. I would say about my academic or career choices, I would just say I always felt like, okay, these are the cards, my cards that are presented to me. This is what I need to do to play my hand and make sure that I try my best to go in the right path. And that's really how it is. Or it was never really, okay, this is how it is. You feel bad or no. This is how it came. This is how you need to play the game and you need to find a way to move on.
So let's ask a dangerous question. Were you prepared in both your academic and in your social experiences for the next stage of your life? Coming out of high school, coming out of college, coming out of high school? Were you prepared? Somebody gave you the heads up and not in the shoulder? What do you think?
Social experience, definitely yes, because my mom, she opens me up to a lot of things that goes on in this world, and I joined a lot of clubs and stuff that forced me to go out of my comfort zone and be very active. But I would say for the academic part, no, because I feel like since I've hit high school, I've actually had one class that taught me anything, and it's because they come with this mindset that, oh, you're an honor student, you know it all, teach yourself. And I could teach myself, but in my way that I learn is not going to always be the accurate way for you. So in a way, I feel like I wasn't really prepared academically unless from what I know. But other than that, it was mainly just my social aspect I was prepared
I'm going
for.
to give myself the point, Darren, neck and neck. I remember when I went to UVI and they were doing the enrollment part, and everybody gets assigned their classes and stuff like that for the freshman class. And it was me and maybe 8 other students that didn't have to take remedial courses, and the rest of the auditorium had to take remedial courses. I don't know if that's changed. Hopefully it has. But that screamed to me that there wasn't a level of preparation to even just to deal with UVI.
If I can do a shameless plug, shout out to the Summer Bridge program for the class of 2024. If you're looking to make sure that you're getting right for your first semester as a freshman at the only HBCU in the Caribbean, then look no further than UVI. Contact Maria Fleming. And, of course, sign up for UVI. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
How about UVI alums? So big ups to that.
So, were you prepared? Yeah, just like academically, like career choices, were you given the support to say, okay, I'm ready now coming out of college to go attack, to go succeed, to go make it?
I never really had somebody I could point to and be like, okay, they kind of helped me prepare. It was always just myself and from where my experience and my past kind of led me to. And I felt like, I feel like I'm prepared for life and like kind of to attack my career and hopefully future academic endeavors. But it was really just off of experience and what I had to go through to reach to where I am at right now. That kind of led me there.
Well, no. We don't say it a lot, but the Adventist school is a really sheltered place. Like, it's just a huge sheltered bubble that hides topics. Like in 11th grade, I asked, they only talk about abstinence. What about the other stuff? And they're like, we can't talk about that. I'm like, okay, we get it. But it's like a really huge bubble. So when you actually you're shoved out in the world and you start hearing about stuff, you're like, I didn't know that. I'm not comfortable with that now. But academically prepared is harder because right now I still struggle with math. I'm somewhat prepared in other subjects, but math was never this strong suit that I had. And socially prepared, absolutely not. I don't like social events at all. I can't stand crowds, so I retreat back to my small places because the school is small. I'm only used to small things.
So you were in a magnet program, but you didn't see the ROI on it. You kind of figured it out for yourself, right? And you think you could have gotten more social exposure and more academic support. And Michael, I think we need to ask them something in terms of what they think their peers are experiencing. I know we didn't have a question like that. If these are your personal stories, what are some of the stories and the conversations you're having with other graduates of your class? What do you see happening to your friends like that?
I don't have much friends, but for my peers, I don't want to sound rude, but I don't know where most of them are going to end up. Because I feel like because of the environment we in, they don't see goals for themselves. They just see themselves settling. So there's a good amount of them that just want to stay here and it's they're going to just work a regular job, make $12 an hour. They don't have no goals. And then there's some that they just want to get out. So there's a good amount of them that are heading to a good place where it's here too, although we have exposure, we don't have that big amount of exposure. So I came from a private school too. I came from Church of God and was thrown into high school. It's your mom let you do that. So it's seeing it now is they're coming out into the world. And I guess a lot of us have strict parents. It's like they're exploring other things rather than a goal of what am I going to do with myself? How am I going to make myself better? So I can say that, I mean, they're going through their rough moments of just coming into adulthood, just trying to find their place. And that's most of them.
Wait, before you continue, right? Do you think us as a community, do you think we have failed you guys in an aspect of providing us support, encouragement, mentorship? Do you think we have failed as a society?
Definitely. So I could speak for myself when I say this and others as well. But it's like they always is like, you're young, you don't know nothing, you didn't live that long. So it's like your mindset, your thinking isn't that important. Or it's always one day you gonna understand instead of helping you, you know, in that moment. And it's like, you know, people say that we're heard. And, you know, we probably are heard, but it's like, are you really listening? So that's, yeah. It's very dismissive. And then I could say too, you know, for the school's administration, it's like people try to do things for us, but because of who is really over education or over the youth themselves, it's like we don't actually get the opportunities because of minor personal issues or politics and things like that.
When I look at my peers and I have conversations with them, obviously everybody's path is different. Everybody had to deal with their own struggles, but at the end of the day, we kind of face the same challenge, whereas, okay, we're all just trying to seek an opportunity to become better in a way. Because I have friends who are in college and who have graduated who still don't have a car yet. You know what I mean? Or who haven't worked a full-time job throughout college or since high school. So it's really just like their past experiences, and everybody's path is different. For me, for example, I have worked, not my entire life, but I have worked from a young age just because that's, like how I said, my cards were dealt differently and I had to accept it and kind of go on that way by myself. But I know peers who are still like in high school are like, oh, I don't have a job. I'm just focusing on college right now. And I'm like, how are you taking care of yourself? Or like, oh, I'm with my parents and stuff. And I'm like, that's good job on that. Like, if you're able to stay like that, why not? But like, I'll always try to give them some encouragement and be like, okay, it's time to kind of like apply for a job. Try to get something. Try to get some real life experience just to add on to your personal and social experiences and academic experiences, so you are prepared to take that next step when it comes.
Okay. What do you see amongst your friends, your peers?
Well, most of my peers actually started like working like really early, so I feel like they're fully prepared for what's to come because most of them are traveling out anyways, so I'm not gonna see them as much as I used to. But some of them, you know, since we're really sheltered, some of them now they're just coming out. Some are going a little wild, like they want to try all these things. So instead of focusing like on the path to get to their goal, they're trying to focus on all these other things. Or some's just focusing on money because they had their job like really early. Because I was never allowed a job in high school. I actually just got my first job, so it's like I'm new to this workforce thing and I don't understand how this exactly works. And I used to get bullied for it because it's like, how could you not work? How do you pay for your stuff? I'm like, my parents do that. Like, the people I lived with pay for my stuff. I'm like, oh, that's just spoiled. Didn't understand that my parents saw high school as the most important thing and that I wasn't allowed to have a job. I wasn't allowed to just do all these things. So they're more prepared for the world than I am, and they're going to go out and do their things. And some of them might go wild and do a bunch of different things. I'm not going to see them anymore because they're not actually going to be here the whole time.
So no, I think that that outlook is very interesting. Again, like I literally went to a sheltered school, same vibe at St. Joseph, you know, and nothing there really ever prepared me. I mean, I think I was told countless times from past seniors I would come back and visit. College was probably the worst experience. So I had that same outlook where I thought when Lime Tree was getting ready to open, I was going to get me a job in the plant, put my head down and just live. That was the ultimate goal. If it wasn't for, I have like more than one.
Say that on the mic. Say that on.
Same, yeah.
High school, especially that last year, like
Yep.
our teachers would be like, what is your plans? Just to different students. I have like 5 friends I could name right now. Like, I'm going Lime Tree, man. I'm going to work in the refinery. And they're like, okay, what are you doing? I'm going to college. So it was like Lime Tree or college or UVI. Not even, you can't even say college. It was UVI or Lime Tree. That was the 2 options. And like, you...
And that's crazy because I was probably the only person in my class that actually they would do this weird thing where once you were accepted, they'd put you up on some board. That never happened for me. If it wasn't for the whim of a couple old ladies that are also like my grandmother to me, actually pulling me to the side and having a real conversation with me about what my plan was, and then my mother would constantly nag me and say, "At least throw your application in," you know. So I took that leap. Literally, I took that leap, and it's so interesting, you guys.
Because without her,
Big shout out to mom.
I made a speech one time in UVI. I was like, yeah, I gotta just shout out my mom because she's the one that made me like promise her like, hey, you gotta go to college and you gotta stick to it. And she's like, promise me that because I don't want you going down on that path that you're going down and what it's leading to for you. Like, just do me that. Promise me that. Go to college. And I'm like, okay, for you, we're gonna try a thing.
I mean, for real, and it sparked such a chord when I hear you guys talk because I would think after dealing with my issue of getting out of high school that maybe they would be different, but I'm hearing the same exact story, and I think it's almost as if we're in a paradox or we're just doing the same thing, rinse and repeat. No,
Don't worry, I gonna get the lead right now because back in our day,
2 points for Darren.
but so the thing is, what's interesting is that the more things change, the more it remains the same, right? So, as an up and coming millennial back then, we was told that we were the future, right? We was told that we was gonna change the world and everything, right? And when we went forward to go to college, and when we went into the workplace, all we met was resistance. To the point, like, I could tell you this, like, my class, 2007, shout out to you guys. Our graduate class was 250 plus. I could probably name but count on the fingers of my hand how much people are remain still on this island because they were so discouraged in so many different ways. So while we were given the energy to go out and change the world and pave the path for those coming behind of us, well, we met that resistance, and then coupled with the fact that the lack of opportunities, the resistance, a lot of people were just like, hey, I have better opportunities out there, let me leave. And now they enriching other communities. And now, like we said, our aging population and couple of all these factors, I'm not saying this to discourage you guys, but just want to get the reality is that we have to do it differently. The path that we're going on right now is unsustainable. And right now, we're seeing the results. Like, we could feel it in our community. We see it. So I just wanted to end it right there. But
and I
please.
think that's a good segue into this question, really. What could be done to retain more young professionals in the USVI? Everyone.
Like, what would make you stay and what would make your people stay?
So as a recent college graduate, it's like, what would make you stay? Honestly, it's more about like when everything is about the opportunities right now. It's like you gotta, as a young individual, starting your life, starting career, you really have to go after what opportunity is gonna best benefit you and the people around you. It comes back to like the opportunities and like the salaries that you're kind of getting, because like if you're an individual who has responsibilities and you need that opportunity and a salary to kind of maintain your lifestyle or just the bare minimum of a lifestyle here, you're going to need more than one job here in the Virgin Islands just to be able to stay alive. Where you can't really, from my experience, I noticed like out of college, you can't really focus on one job or like just one opportunity and be like, oh, you're set. Unless you're one of those lucky individuals who like has their own responsibility. They don't have to take care of no family, no house. Like, it's strictly just go to work, come home, stack your money, but it's not really always like that. And from my experience and just hearing my peers' stories, yeah, we need a little more opportunities and salaries to kind of match those opportunities for us and other individuals and college graduates and high school graduates, just to be able to stay and live at home in our life here.
What would make you stay? What would be something you think your peers need in order to stay in the Virgin Islands?
More encouragement. It's really disencouraging when you try to tell someone what you want to do in life and they disencourage you, like, oh, that's not going to work out. Don't do that. Like, at all. Just don't do that. Choose something else. Or I actually tried to attend UVI. I would have attended, but it doesn't have enough degrees for what I wanted to do. Or like some of the degrees it didn't have any job opportunities on St. Croix. You would actually have to leave to get a job with the degree you had. And it's really depressing because I actually like St. Croix. I would stay if it just had more encouragement and more opportunities. But I have to leave to start something, or else I'm just going to be stuck, stranded nowhere, doing nothing.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I would say
Reality.
it's more than beyond like salaries and job opportunities, because those are really a big part. But like to open the island up some more things. So for me, I like to explore. I want to get up and say, I can go to an escape room today, you know? It's like we don't have anything here besides, you know, the regular local things to do. And along with that, we don't have, you know, the salaries and stuff to make it. So it's like we're living a whole life where it's like you're confined to really in your house. And I feel like if we had more things to do, more opportunities, more things just for us, especially the youth, then maybe more children would stay here.
Thank you.
Well, we here at Dialogue 340 appreciate the conversation today with you, three graduates. We wish you a huge congratulations on graduating and moving on in life to all your goals and your successes. And to the new Madam President, you have a daunting task to take under advisement if you do see this episode, if anybody from UVI sees this, to share this information with her and to continue to grow the University of the Virgin Islands to cater to the needs of these young individuals. And to you guys, we thank you so much for being on our show today. This has been episode 2, Feel the People, Dialogue 340. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on our next episode.